Greetings, Karen Clay here, Guild Certified Feldenkrais Practitioner with another lesson for you. This is the third in a series of 3 called Balancing the Sacrum. We'll be working as we have been against a wall or near a wall. So if you're just joining, make sure you go back 2 lessons to part 1 and part 2 of this. All right, so here we're going to start not right next to the wall, but near the wall for starters. So begin lying on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And just sense, if you can, the support that the ground is giving you through your feet and how that force moves to your knees and from your knees to your hip joints in your pelvis. And then put your hands on the sticky outy bones at the very front of your pelvis. Those are called the ASIS. It doesn't matter the name, it's the sticky outy top front of the pelvis. And then begin to lift your right leg away from the floor and set it back down, and lift the left leg and set it back down. And just notice how much your pelvis moves when you lift a leg. Does it move a lot side to side, or does it move towards the ceiling on one side and towards the ground on the other side? Does it roll or tilt? What kind of movement is happening in your pelvis? And after you've ascertained that, just pause for a moment. And we're going to begin with our hands around the front part of our knees. So closer to the foot than to the thigh, on the lower side of the knee, with the hands around the front from the sides. And just begin very slowly to take your knees just a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, almost as if the knees were on a track. You're not looking to go as far as you can go at all. That's not the purpose of this in any way. The purpose is just to begin to move the knees slightly, as if on a horizontal track that's parallel to the floor, moving from right to left, keeping it simple and easy, and allowing this to help you find the weight of your sacrum against the floor and the back of your pelvis, to note when it feels like you're resting on top of the joint, and then to begin, as it appears for you, to be able to take your knees a little further in each side, not because you're pushing it, but because suddenly it just feels as if you can go further. And so you will just keep that going, side to side, noticing when the movement starts to involve your waist and your lower back. And then at some point you'll reach the place where there's a precipice, where it feels like if you were to go any further to one side, you'd actually fall to the ground, that you wouldn't be able to control yourself all the way to the ground. So I'd like you to stop before that precipice and just go that far and come back and go to the other side. Just very slowly sneaking up on that edge without spilling over it. And then to help counterbalance, we're going to use the opposite knee to help us. So as we all together go to the right, you're going to lengthen your left knee towards the ceiling, lengthening the left arm. And you're pressing your knee into your left hand, and then come back to center. We're going to do it the same way again to the right so you can get the hang of it. So both knees go to the right when you approach the precipice, then you lengthen through the left knee towards the ceiling so the left pelvis leaves the floor, and you lengthen the left arm. The more you can find the balance between the weight of the legs, the easier it will be for you to stay on that precipice. So now go to the left side, both knees to the left. When you approach the edge of the precipice, lengthen your right knee towards the ceiling, extending your right elbow to the full length of your arm. And there you are, poised, but not falling, not tumbling over the edge. Let's do it again to the left. Both knees to the left. Start to lengthen away from the head towards the ceiling in the direction of the wall and ceiling in front of you, and lengthening your right elbow. And then come back to center and alternate side to side. So you start to get that feeling of resting on one side of the pelvis while the other leg reaches away. It's kind of a clutching movement, how much you pull and how much you push between the knee and the hand on the right side and the knee and the hand on the left side. So pretty soon you may be able to actually poise yourself and roll slowly all the way onto your side, controlling the movement all the way, and then opening the top knee, having it lead you back to center, bringing both knees to the center, then tilting the knees in the other direction, counterbalancing with the top knee. If you start to find yourself wobbling and wiggling like I'm doing right now, just take a little time. Ease into it. Notice your breathing as you comfortably roll yourself all the way onto your side and back to the middle, slowly right and left. Feeling how the two legs work together and how the weight of one leg, the following leg, counterbalances the weight of the leading leg, so that each operates individually and separately. Okay, great. Lower your legs, and now please bring yourself into a fetal position on your side and turn so that your butt is right up against the wall. Then kick your top leg up to the ceiling and your bottom leg up to the ceiling. If you have at this moment discomfort in your lower back or your knees cannot straighten, then back away from the wall some. If you still feel discomfort, then please do grab a roller or a bolster for underneath your pelvis. I don't have one at this moment, and I'm going to use a pillow, which is okay. It's not as great, but it's all right. So that would be a possibility if you don't have a bolster, to just use a pillow. I'm not going to use that. So now begin by simply moving one knee, your right knee to the right and back to the middle. So when you slide your right foot to the right and back to center, does the left heel press into the wall more? Does that pressure through the left heel somehow make sliding the right heel easier? And then the opposite side, sliding the left to the left, noticing how the right heel serves as an anchor point for you. Great. Now move the right to the right and the left to the right. And then come back into center, one leg at a time. Left to left, right to left. So now where is the weight on your pelvis? Has it shifted to one side? Right to center, left to center. Repeat it again. Right to right, left to right. Back to center, left to left, right to left. Now lengthen your right leg towards the ceiling and lower it back down. Do that several times, lengthening it up towards the ceiling and then lowering it back down. Lengthen the right heel to the ceiling, lower it, and come back down. Now come back into the center, right heel and left heel. Then the right heel goes to the right, the left heel goes to the right, and then you slide the left heel towards the ceiling, lengthening up, lowering down, lengthening up, lowering down, feeling how you're rolling onto the right side of the pelvis, separating or gapping the joint, the sacroiliac joint. Come back into center. Continue left to left, right to left. Slide just once. Slide back down, come into center, right to right, left to right. Slide up the wall with the left heel, come back down, back to center, back to center. So you can continue that as many times as is comfortable for you. Sensing that important part when you're rolling away from the floor with one hip as you roll onto the floor with the other hip. Feeling how the weight is traveling to the outside of the back of the pelvis. So do that as many times as you're comfortable, and then come back to center. And please bring your right foot towards your chest slightly and back. Now again, this is not about how far you go. This isn't a test to see how close you could get your leg to your torso. This is about how you counterbalance your weight, what you do with the other heel against the wall. And this is a piece of something that we're about to knit together. It's just one little tiny bit of the movement that we're going to put together. So now as you take your right leg towards your chest, circle it outside to the right and bring it back into the center. Then take the left heel towards the chest, circle it outward towards the wall and back to the beginning. Right leg towards the chest, circle it to the side, towards the wall, slide it back in. Same thing with the left. Continue that several times, sensing what's happening in how the whole weight of the leg is dropping directly into the hip joint and from the hip joint into the sacrum. Now we're going to do these movements of the legs in tandem, and we're actually going to move away from the wall. So go ahead and bring yourself back onto your side in a fetal position. And then you can move yourself away from the wall and lengthen your legs on the floor. Taking a brief rest, and then when you're ready, come back. Here's another moment where you're going to need to make a test, a pre-test for yourself. Can you bring your legs in the air comfortably like this? If not, if you're having to use a lot of abdominal muscles, let me go away so you can see me a little better. There we go. Then you would put a bolster or a pillow under your pelvis so that it's easier for your legs to stand up without any abdominal work, okay? If you can't do that yet, stop doing the lesson for now and come back to it next time. All right. So this is a good stopping place if you feel like you've had enough and this is too difficult. So with the legs like this, you're going to do the same thing that we did against the wall. One leg circle, other leg circle. One leg circle, other leg circle. But now you're going to start to go side to side. One leg circle, other leg circle. So one leg circle, other leg circle starts to weave itself together into this kind of egg beater movement where you're moving side to side and head to tail, and you can feel the back of the pelvis, you can feel the sacroiliac joint, and how you're moving over it with the full weight of each leg. That's at least 10 pounds of weight dropping directly into the back of the pelvis. That's the magic of this movement. So when you're ready, take a rest and just fold your knees, hold on to them comfortably for a moment. You can continue that for as long as you like if you're happy with it. I'm just stopping now for those of you who are just starting. You can always pause and do more. And then lower your feet to the floor and let's put our fingers on the sticky outy bone in the front of the pelvis and notice what happens when you step and how well organized your pelvis is so that it doesn't lurch or tilt or roll, but that you're absolutely clearly moving in your hip joints with enough support from the other side, enough counterbalance from the other side that your pelvis stays still. You can pause again and lengthen your legs one more time on the floor, just to sense where you are. And then we'll finish the lesson there. So that's the end of this series. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this and that you got something from it. I'll be back next week. Please do subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much.